I think, first of all, it was a good, hard-fought win. I said to the team before the game, we were going to get faced with adversity tonight. I didn't know when it would show itself or how it would show itself, but we were going to get faced with it tonight. And then how we would respond to that adversity was going to be the key to the drill to us having a successful ball game and playing together. And the key to dealing with adversity is sticking together and not getting fragmented and playing as one. And I thought we did that. They went up 17-7 after the double pass, and I didn't think our team blinked for a second. From that moment on, we outscored them 34-3. I thought we controlled the line of scrimmage after that. We were able to run the football. We were able to stop the run. We were able to get off the field on defense. Obviously created a big interception there by Jahdae Barron, which I think kind of opened the game up. But all in all, that's a good football team we just beat. A lot of credit to them, but I love the way that our team just kind of stayed the course and hung together and battled through some of the early start woes and didn't blink, and then ultimately started to extend the lead and started to lean on them and played a physical brand of football that was effective. I loved our crowd. Another great crowd tonight. Really cool effort by Hudson Card, not 100%, and won a really big scramble there on second and long to extend a drive. And then obviously, I thought Bijan and Roshan both kind of ran with a real sense of physicality, the offensive line, the tight ends, the receivers blocking. So, all in all, it was a good effort, and glad to kind of get through the preseason. And now we start conference play next week, and the goal next week is to be 1-0 in conference play. So we got work to do.
We'll start with Jeff Allen, the left.
Sark, can you go through what explanation you were given on the targeting call on DeMarvion, just your thoughts on it, and then at the end of that whole thing, just the defense's response to eventually get off the field on fourth down?
Yeah, they deemed the quarterback a defenseless player at that point. There's new rules in place now where we're allowed to appeal a targeting, especially one that occurs in the second half of the game. So we'll definitely try to appeal this one. I felt like DeMarvion did everything he could. He never lowered his head. He tried to make a clean hit. It was a bang-bang play. So, we'll take a look at it on tape and then try to send it in and see what the league says.
On your right, Joe.
After the onside and then the double pass, did you say anything on the sideline? Did anybody say anything on the sideline? And what kept the team from buckling then when they have so many times in years past?
I think we were all saying a lot of things. I don't know if it was all pleasant, but we were all saying a lot of things. Hey, in games like this, when you're playing a team that kind of has nothing to lose, playing a little bit with house money against you, you got to be prepared for all those types of things. And you try to practice for all of them. But that was a heck of an onside they executed. It was a heck of a double pass they executed. The guy makes a heck of a catch over two defenders. Our big thing was it was way too early in the game to start to panic, right? Let's just get back to playing sound football, good football. We needed to win more on first down. We needed to tackle better on defense. I didn't think that we were tackling very good those first few drives. And it wasn't that they were creating explosive plays. They were just throwing 3- and 4-yard completions that they were extending into 8, 9, 10, 12-yard plays. And what we started to do later in the game, they may have completed those balls, but we were tackling those guys, and then we were getting them on the ground. It was 2nd and 7. So I just thought that we started to tackle better. We started to populate the ball better. I think the offense helped the defense some by possessing the football a little bit more, extending some drives to where they were fresh when they were getting back on the field.
In the middle, Danny.
Steve, what has Jahdae kind of done to earn a spot in this rotation and receive this playing time?
Well, Jahdae's a savvy player. I think he's got a very high football IQ. He's a physical player for a defensive back. So I'm sure I know of a handful of plays tonight that he'd probably love to have back where he normally makes better tackles. But like all of us, I think we're all a little off early on. But he's a heady player. He's aware. He can cover. He can tackle. He can blitz. And then kind of Johnny on the spot tonight, the errant throw, and he's able to make the play on it and like I said, kind of extend the game and open it up.
On your left, Brian. Brian.
Steve, kind of building on what you, 2 questions earlier, it felt like the 3 and out in the third quarter that the defense forced, that felt like a huge kind of turning point where, and y'all really just took off after that. I mean, could you sense that? Did it feel like that on the field?
Yeah, I mean, I felt like halftime when we came in, we had to make some adjustments, in all 3 phases. I thought they did a nice job on special teams, creating some issues for us. I thought they did some nice things with their front on defense, with kind of moving their front a little bit more than we were anticipating. And clearly, them kind of the short, quick passing game, and then kind of the intermediate run game that was kind of falling forward for 5, 6, 7 yards. So we had a lot of things to clean up. And then it was just about regrouping, and getting ourselves regrouped and playing our style of football. We were just a little bit out of sorts. And I felt like when we came out in the second half and getting the 3 and out, it was kind of like, okay, now we're starting to play. And then we started running the ball, and things started to click better kind of in all 3 phases.
Hey, Coach, can you maybe take us into maybe how difficult of a decision it was to figure out which quarterback you're going to go with Hudson being ailing a little bit, but Charles Wright being a guy who probably hasn't played a lot? And the second question was, were you a little bit encouraged to see Quinn throw before the game?
Yeah, I mean, Quinn, like I said, all 3 of these guys, I think first of all, let me start with Charles. Charles has come a long way. He's got a lot of confidence, and we would have felt really good with him going in the game and playing in this game. And he's kind of earned that. And I think his teammates are proud of how far he's come. I didn't know what Hudson was going to look like coming out of that last week's game. And like I said, he progressed as the week. He didn't really practice Monday, practiced sporadically Tuesday, got more reps Wednesday, and then was really kind of ready to go Thursday. Quinn, Saturday after the ball game, couldn't lift his arms over his shoulders. As the week went on, he's starting to play soft toss, then he's starting to throw. So he made progress too. And I really, on Thursday, I know you guys were giving me a hard time, or I might have been giving you a hard time. I don't know which one it was. That was a joke for everybody in here. But I really didn't know. Thanks, Brian. I really didn't know what Quinn would look like, how far he could take it to how he was throwing the ball. I had a pretty good idea of where Hudson was, but he continued to improve. And then, come Saturday at 7 o'clock, that was a lot of time until the ball was going to get kicked off. And, we went with Hud, and he, again, we knew we had to come in here and run the ball. We wanted to be the more physical team. But again, there was opportunities for Hud to throw it, did it. And then the biggest play he made tonight was with his legs on 2nd and 22. And I think that just shows, like I talked about way back when we decided to make Quinn the starter, Hudson Card bleeds burnt orange and white. I mean, this guy, that's why he's on our leadership committee. When his number was called, he gave this program everything he could tonight, again, just like he did a week ago. So that's all we can ask for of him.
Back middle, Nick.
Yeah, Steve, Deshaun Jameson was a little banged up coming into this week. Obviously, he had a couple really big pass breakups for y'all. Just, curious what his presence out there did for y'all, and, did you sense any maybe lingering effects from that injury that he had? Yeah,
I think one of the first plays he went in, they beat him on a double move, and I think there was a penalty in the game. And we kind of pulled him out for a couple plays, and I just talked to him and I said, hey, bud, the ankle might not be 100%. But you got to get your mental focus and your mental intensity right and where it needs to be. And I thought from that moment, he really had some nice breakups in the end zone on 3rd down. He played like a senior after that moment. He kind of had to get over the hump of his own personal adversity of where he was at. And hey, it's week 3 in the season. I'd be shocked if you went in the locker room and every guy said he felt 100%. Everybody's got something. We were coming off a very physical game last week. We had another physical one tonight, so we've got to continue to try to get ourselves healthy. He's no different, but I thought he showed a lot of maturity in the way he played after that one of his first plays and settled down and had some big pass breakups.
Middle center.
Steve, you mentioned a running game. You guys took some shots early, vertical shots, but it seemed like when you started to pound Bijan and Roshan, it wore them down over time. And could you sense that there was a little give in them, especially in the third quarter, when their guys were kind of gassed.
Yeah, I kind of felt it. And then we just kind of went into that mode. You know, I thought we had some pretty good success when the ball got spit on the perimeter as well, when they were trying to load up to stop the run, whether it was with the bubbles, the jet sweeps, things of that nature, to kind of circle the defense. You know, so, but at the end of the day, I thought the offensive line is really starting to gel and mature together, especially in the run game. I felt like HUD, for the most part, had a really clean pocket when the opportunities came to drop back. But, you know, we leaned on them. We wanted to lean on them. We wanted to see how the game would go if we started to do that. And that was a point of emphasis coming in, and kind of played out the way we kind of hoped it would.
On your far right, Chip.
Steve, it was tough running the ball in the first quarter, but, you know, Bijan's that guy who will break it eventually. When he broke that 78-yard run, that's about as animated as we've seen you this season. He goes over 100 for the first time this season. Just talk about, you know, your emotion and his ability to hammer, and then break the big one.
Yeah, you know, like I said, we came into the game, and I didn't make any secrets about it with the offense that you know, we had to be the more physical team tonight. We needed to run the ball. Clearly, we had a little bit of a quarterback situation going on, and sometimes when you're running the ball, it doesn't happen right away, right? There's a little bit of, you know, over time, it starts to break, and people start to get out of their gaps. Part of it is the play calls. You know, we got to find the right formations and plays that can hit versus what's happening. And then part of it is the runner too. And, you know, right before the first play of the second half, I told him, I said, just run through these guys. I said, enough of the dancing in the hole and spinning and all the stuff. Just start running through them, and you're gonna hit a big one here. And sure enough, it was 2 plays later, he hits that long run. And that's kind of why I was so excited for him and the guys in that huddle, because that was what we kept preaching, that sooner or later the dam was going to break and we would start rolling, and that's kind of what happened.
Got time for 2 last quick ones, Terry?
Coach, you talked about the early start woes. Today's game was a completely different start than last week. What causes that in a team?
You know, I think some of it is mental intensity. You know, as much as I think that we practiced well this week, as much as, you know, there was 102,500 people in the stadium, I didn't think the energy was the same as a week ago from our team, the stadium. It wasn't. Let's just call it like it is. It wasn't quite the same. And regardless of who our opponent is, I think we all need to learn, man, when we step into DKR, when we step on the field, our energy levels got to be right. We dictate the temperature in that stadium, right? And, you know, we're not thermometers. We're thermostats. We set the temperature, and then the opponents have to choose to decide if they want to rise to that temperature or not. Tonight, I didn't think it was. I felt like, you know, our opponent set the temperature, and then we had to start to raise our energy level to get to where they were and then surpass it to play our style of football. So lesson learned, and I think that our guys understood that. But like I said, I thought this was good for us. I thought the adversity was good for us. The way we responded to it, I think, is going to be something that we can, you know, lean into and lean back on, because we're going to get faced with other tough moments this year. I'd love to call every perfect play in the first quarter and things be clicking and going and rocking and rolling, but they coach too. They got good players too, and sometimes it doesn't always go your way. But you got to keep fighting. You got to keep battling, and then over time, you know, you start to get the momentum back in your favor.
Last one, Joe?
Unsure when you made this change, but noticed it last week, saw it again this week. PK's on the sidelines. When did that happen, and why did it happen?
I think it's good for PK to be down there. I think for a couple reasons. One, it gives him a sense to feel the game. You know, I've always been an on-the-field play caller my entire career. I think there's something about looking in your player's eyes, getting a feel of the game. You know, we trust the people that are upstairs for him, and I think it also helps from a substitution standpoint with our edge players of getting really good substitutions done. So all in all, I think it's been a good switch. We've been doing it from the beginning of the season. So, in the end, I think it helps his perspective of feeling the players and being able to communicate to the players to make great adjustments on the sidelines. I think that we did tonight. We talk a lot about making adjustments in this game. And I thought tonight was a classic example of us. We weren't playing great, really, in my opinion, any phase of the game there early on. And we settled it down and made, I think, some good adjustments at halftime and went out and played a really good second half.